What is up, Edison Duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys with a late night upload. Why is my upload so late? Well, I am always on the hunt for deals on Facebook Marketplace for one thing in specific, not Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I am trying to build a home gym without breaking the bank. And folks, if you know about this, you know that, okay, what is a good rule of thumb for buying used weights on the internet? You want to pay $1 per pound, right? Right. That's a fair price. And if you can get that, you're in good shape. Folks, earlier today, I found an ad that had only been up for 3 hours, and I jumped on this opportunity because the seller was selling 300 pounds of cast iron plates, as well as a very, very fine squat rack and a top-notch quality bench, all for $200. What a bargain. So naturally, I spent my afternoon picking up that stuff, getting a nice little home gym set up in my basement, and also getting a workout in from the comfort of my own home. And I gotta say, I'm just so completely stoked. It's really tough, being a new parent and having to get all the way out to the gym, finding the time to do that. I feel bad, having to be away from my daughter. I miss her terribly. So having a home gym is just I just couldn't be more excited. So here's a little picture of my my little setup here in my basement. We definitely need to pick up a nice 7-foot Olympic bar. Yeah, I'm really out of shape, so these plates are going to be more than sufficient for now. But I just couldn't be more excited about this. So hey, I had to brag a little bit, had to show it off. But let's get into today's video. I have 2 matches, and folks, sometimes I wonder if I'm gonna run out of content. There's only so many times I can show myself dunking on people. And sometimes I think, oh, I'm gonna run out of content. And Gigavice is always interesting to me. But then whenever I'm feeling like that, I run into just the saltiest, most unpleasant opponents. And folks, nothing brings me more joy than defeating a salty opponent. I love playing a good game of Yu-Gi-Oh! When both players are having fun. If we're being honest, that is really ideal. But there is something so special about your opponent getting salty or being rude, and then you get the win. It's some mandate of heaven type stuff. And as if to drive the point home, we have gone ahead and opened combo here, and then we are going to have 66% miss the roundup, a very rare occurrence. Because I had the hidden armory and then I had threatening roar and solemn judgment, I was comfortable going for the power tool dragon. I know that a lot of the consensus is moving away towards power tool dragon and dropping the risk, but I do think you can make some really intelligent decisions to take that risk where, if we high roll here into the supervised, that's great, but missing in this situation really isn't so bad. Mark of the Rose is good crackback potential. There's a high chance, because of the threatening roar, we're going to be able to protect both of our monsters and can get more advantage next turn. And these advantage snowballs can really make the difference and give you that extra push to get the win. So we're just going to set our traps and then pass. We have 2 hidden armories and a Mark of the Rose, so plenty of crackback potential. Our opponent is going to go ahead and Brain Con to try and take our Giga Plant and run over the power tool. But just as predicted, that threatening roar is going to hold him off. So he's going to set everything but the Icarus attack. That makes sense. And then, of course, he is going to fire the Dust Shoot into nothing. That's another thing that feels really great playing a deck like Gigavice. One of the downsides of playing that extra copy plant, maybe even Gores, is that we have slightly more monsters, so it's slightly harder to make Dust Shoot miss. But it is not a big deal. Speaking of not a big deal, we are going to mill a Dandelion here, which is fine, but isn't really going to matter a ton. And then we do pick up that Supervise back from our graveyard, because we did once again miss with the Power Tool Dragon. So we'll bring back a Lone Fire Blossom here and then go for Nettles. to force out a torrential if there is one. And if not, we are just going to go ahead and try and clear our opponent's board with this Mistworm, bouncing back all 3 back row. He's going to go ahead and bottomless the Mistworm. That's totally fine. We're going to get that road and that deep prison out of the way. Gigaplant is going to come back. We can use our second hidden armory to recycle that supervise one more time, equip the Gigaplant with the supervise, and then go Lone Fire, tributing the token for Titanial. And we need just a little bit more damage, but we can find that by going Dust Shoot into Mistworm. Pretty confident that our opponent is not going to have Gores in this situation, considering it would have to be his last card. And if you have Gores, you're probably not going to set 4 back row like that. So we're going to go ahead and take game 1 here, and then it is going to be game number 2. Still, it does seem like our opponent is playing perfectly politely, so nothing too bad here so far. Here he is going to go ahead and Bora set 2, and we are going to pick up a DDR for. So we'll go ahead and fire the Upstart Goblin and draw into a Supervise. And now, because we do have just about full combo here, I am going to go ahead and Trunade. We don't need to use this Upstart Goblin here. I'm just going to use Hidden Armory to try and get Mark of the Rose and then win like that. So here he is going to go ahead and begin the disrespect. I have to show this to you guys. Let's take off the little chat hiding here. And he says, bruh, LMFAO, you took the bait. I think he's referring to the fact that we're using our Trunade right now, as opposed to, you know, perhaps holding it. And he's getting to draw 2 here. And we've wasted our Trunade, and then he does hit us with a second LMFAO. I hit him with the thumbs up. That's totally fine. I'm not really complaining here. So what we're actually going to go ahead and do is get this Mark of the Rose, and then we're going to Foolish Burial, sending a Lone Fire Blossom to the graveyard. We'll activate Mark of the Rose to go ahead and try and take the Bora. However, our opponent says, wait, before you use. So he wants to stop us from using his our Mark of the Rose. He is going to go ahead and use a DD Crow, and oh man, you know, he really got us there. Now we'll have to keep that Mark of the Rose in the hand, and our opponent is not going to have a DD Crow to interrupt our play. Oh darn. So anyways, we're just going to get the Lone Fire back. Like, it's so obvious here. Like, I don't care about taking your monster. I mean, I do, because you have Kalut and everything, but really, like, Mark of the Rose's job was to banish the Lone Fire, and he just did our job for us. And we still have Mark of the Rose for later, so that's totally fine. So we're just going to go ahead and begin our combo here. We're going to make a Power Tool Dragon, get the Gigaplant back. He does not have the second DD Crow. This is just a ridiculous way to use your DD Crow, is stopping that Mark of the Rose. Like that's absolutely preposterous. A terrible line to take, especially without a second DD Crow. And then to be acting like this LMFAO, you took the bait, you know, like, oh yeah, you really got me. I used my Trunade so I could go for full combo. And then he hit us with the, you know, wait before you use, thinking he's just, you know, he's totally got us. He's really put one over on us. But instead, we're just going to go ahead and make our Black Brute Draco, bring back our Gigaplant, and now we can Mark of the Rose to steal the Bora, and that is going to be GG. Our opponent immediately, before we can say anything, admits defeat and then leaves the duel. So that is going to be that. A very clean 2-0 against Blackwings. Admittedly, our opponent did punt, but I don't care. I'm going to point and laugh at him, because he felt the need to try and point and laugh at me for quote-unquote taking the bait. What can I say, folks? You know, don't be rude. You'll get punished. There's justice in the universe. And folks, there really is justice in the universe. So speaking of justice, you know, who enforces justice? It's heroes. Heroes are, you know, it is a heroic thing to enforce justice in the world. So similarly enough, here our opponent is going to try and act as a hero and play Hero Beat. Pretty strong opening, I gotta say, here, with double D Prison, Skill Drain, Gem Spark, And meanwhile, we are just starking for Lone Fire with no follow-up. So we're going to take the 1900. He is going to set to pass it off to us. We'll find that Super Solar Nutrient, but that is going to be no help whatsoever. He's going to go ahead and fire that Rhoda to pick up a second Neos Alias and swing in for 1800 and 1900 as well. So big damage coming from our opponent. And then we do pick up a Dust Shoot, which is very nice, but ultimately is not going to be a ton of help. I'm going to go ahead and Heavy Storm here. He is going to chain the Gemini Spark. We're going to chain the Wing Blast to put the Stratos back. This is going to give him the draw immediately, but it's also going to keep it off the field, and maybe I can spin it back with it. So trying to establish field control here, we're going to go Lone Fire for Lone Fire into Gigaplant. I just need it to stick around with that Threatening Roar. I think I can pull that off. So we'll punch in for 24 and then set to pass. Here our opponent picks up a Miracle Fusion, which is pretty terrible for us, admittedly. And we are going to put that Stratos back and get a good look at his hand and see what we're going to have to play around. Fortunately, our opponent doesn't have a Water yet, and Elemental Hero the Shining is not a legal card in Edison format. And he's just going to be setting 2, and we know exactly what those are, which is going to be huge, especially good because look at this, we did pick up the Supervise. So first I'm going to start things off by going for Lone Fire and getting Titanial onto the field. This is going to let us play around Deep Prison, and then we will equip the Gigaplant with a Supervise and try an attack. Of course, he will Deep Prison, and we simply negate that. And then we will attack in with Gigaplant. Main phase 2, we'll try and use Gigaplant's effect, and no surprise there, he's going to hit us with Skill Drain. So now he pretty much has to draw a Water. Solemn Judgment is not a Water, so that's not going to be much help. He's going to set what we can only assume is the Voltic, and we are going to attack over that. The Supervise, I knew there was the Skill Drain here, but it is just making our Gigaplant a little stickier, and you know, a 2400 that summons itself back is kind of tough for heroes to deal with. We do draw Gores, which is not going to be particularly useful at this moment because we are already in a command position. He will go ahead and try and draw one more card. He does pick up Cyber Dragon, which he's going to be forced to set now. He's thinking, I suppose, maybe he could Torrential if we try and commit another monster to get over it, but we're just going to play it nice and carefully. We'll attack over the Sidra, set the Solemn Judgment, so now we're really feeling safe, and then he's going to set another monster. We are going to pick up a Hidden Armory here. I'm not going to use that yet. We'll attack first, so we have as much information as possible, and then at this time we will fire the Hidden Armory to pick up a Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose is what we're going for here because it's going to combo nicely with the DDR. So he's going to go ahead and fire Gemini Lancer and then use Torrential to try and clear the board. We are going to bring back our Gigaplant, and then he is going to use Miracle Fusion now that he does have access to Water. So we're going to go ahead and let that through because I think we can just use Threatening Roar and then Mark of the Rose to win the game. And no reason to play into the back row. You know, in case the back row is Solemn, we want to use our Solemn on it. And of course it is Solemn, so deciding to not Solemn the Miracle Fusion, definitely correct. And he's going to go ahead and get hit with the Mark of the Rose. He'll use his Solemn Judgment to stop that. We won't even bother using ours because we do have a Hidden Armory, so we can just get that Mark of the Rose right back and use it a second time, and that is going to be GG game. So we'll go on into game number 2 against this Hero Beat player who has been very austere, not really saying anything in the chat. And then we open, look at this fantastic hand, folks. Lone Fire, double Supervise, and a Heavy Storm. So all he has to do is put a Neos on board, and we are going to have a Colossal Armory Arm line. Feels good, dog. Now, we do pick up a Super Solar Nutrient. That's not going to be particularly relevant. We're just going to go ahead and Lone Fire here into the second Lone Fire, into the Gigaplant, and then go for Supervise, bring back the Fire Blossom, and go for Copy Plant. And this is really pretty much just a standard combo, especially because we have the DDR. I'm not afraid of missing early, and we also already have the Supervise. So this has got to be just the most straightforward path to 8,000 you have ever seen. This is a situation where I'm not particularly worried about Gores because it is hero beat. These decks that are playing a lot of back row oftentimes not playing. Kind of conflicts. It's going to be dead in hand a lot. Now, the flip side to that is if you're playing these kinds of decks, I definitely think there is merit to considering playing a Gores because it's going to give you that surprise factor. You know, situations like this where I'm saying, oh yeah, my opponent's probably not playing Gores because he's on hero beat, and then you drop the Gores and you completely blow him out. And now here, this is what happens to our opponent. He says, so you draw full combo and heavy. Whoa. And then admits defeat. So that is GG and it is game. Definitely not as salty as our previous opponent. But I do also got to say, like, this behavior is, you know, like, you're playing a game. There's variance. There's plenty of times where I do not draw full combo. And, in fact, I get dunked on. So it definitely happens. It's definitely not just it's one-sided. But, you know, I really think that this kind of attitude here is not very productive. Folks, I brick a lot. There's a lot of games that I lose. I gotta say right now my rating is barely over 1,000. I'm definitely on a losing streak, partially because I'm playing poorly, partially because I'm not drawing super great. But you're just complaining about it, like that's such a bad mindset, and it's true in life too. You know, you gotta take the good with the bad. You gotta just accept it. You know, like if I watch a little professional poker sometimes, and you see these really good players, they'll get these awful bad beats and they'll just say, okay, nice hand, and then they'll keep on moving. And that's really the attitude you want to have, because when you have that attitude, then you get to find these really fantastic matches sometimes, like this third one that I would like to show you. And I'm going to have to keep stalling while Dueling Network fails to load. So that is unfortunate. Maybe we can jump into a live duel instead if that's not working. Here we go. So this is another game I did play the other day against Blackwings. This is a very good duelist, and here we see, like, we are not opening full combo. In fact, we're opening pretty far from full combo. We have a lot of pieces that are just not really doing anything together. And then meanwhile, our opponent has opened great. He's got Allure, he's got Royal Oppression, he can establish Shura. We're definitely just starting off behind, and drawing Gigaplant is going to be absolutely no help. Now, Lone Fire Blossom, that is going to be a little bit of help. And because I have the fertilizer and because it's game one, I do decide to just fire it immediately. That is going to get shut down instantly by that Royal Oppression. So here our opponent is going to be free to swing in. Solemn Judgment is not going to stop that at all. We do pick up a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which is a potential out to the Royal Oppression, but we're going to need a lot of gas if we're really going to be able to capitalize. He also has picked up a Black Whirlwind, which is going to be a big help if he can find another monster. Now, speaking of a lot of gas, Miracle Fertilizer could just be it. So we're going to go ahead and try and fert for that Lone Fire. Chaining Royal Oppression here. This way, if he has a second Oppression set, he's not going to be able to use it to stop our fert. And in fact, we are going to get that Lone Fire off. No second Oppression here. He does have a Bottomless as well as a Book of. So we're going to get this Gigaplant up. It is going to get hit with the Bottomless. We are going to DDR to bring it right back, and then just try and swing over the Shura. He is going to hit us with the Book of Moon this time, and that is going to be something that we cannot abide. So we're going to have to use the Solemn Judgment. I was kind of testing for Kalut there. The fact that he used the Book of Moon, that tells me, okay, you don't have Kalut. Because Book of Moon could have a lot more circumstances, a lot more value there, and it would basically be doing the same thing as Kalut. So we've proven that he doesn't have Kalut, but we did have to use our Judgment. So we are pretty low on life points. So I'm thinking I better establish a stronger board. So we're going to go ahead and Lone Fire here to get Titanial up. Maybe play around a potential Icarus attack, something like that. And then he is going to pick up the Royal Oppression that we top decked. We will shut down Brain Control with Gigaplant. And now we do know that he has Royal Oppression. So we can't just normal summon Gigaplant. And unfortunately, this Gigaplant is tied to DDR, so we can't just drop the Heavy Storm here without losing our monster. So he's going to go ahead and mirror force, and now we do have heavy storm available, but we're going to wait to use that. We do pick up a hidden armory, which is going to be a very nice top deck. I'm going to hold off until I have a little more information before I commit to using it. And he is going to pick up a deep prison. Doesn't want to set that into us. He draws another Sirocco, so still failing to find monsters. We are going to remain in the fight. I do pick up a Foolish Burial. I could try and put some tokens on the field, but I have a feeling that he probably has some Siroccos, which of course he does. And I also just don't want to give him something that he could easily pierce over. Putting the 2 tokens on board is just it's a recipe for disaster. So he is going to pick up an Icarus attack, which he will be setting. We're going to pick up a copy plant, so I'm forced to continue, kind of pushing my luck and trying to see if we can hold off. But unfortunately, at this time, he is going to flip up that Black Whirlwind and drop the board on us. So I know he can just search a Kalut, and that is going to be GG game 1. So we'll go ahead and side in and see if we can get him on the crackback games 2 and 3. That's going to be tough, especially with a pretty slow opening hand like this. Wing Blast, Judgment, these are fantastic cards to back up a combo. They're not bad cards in a vacuum, but also not great cards. Meanwhile, our opponent is on this very spicy Raiko tech. So I'm going to set 2 more cards. I'm worried about Icarus attack, so I want to just, kind of dilute it down. I don't want to just lose my entire back. So we'll set a couple more here. This definitely loses to Pro Set Heavy, but I guess I was more scared of Icarus. He gets a fantastic target on that Raiko, and then a fantastic mill getting his Blizzy live. So he's going to go really, really strong here and hit us for 1,500. Testing our back row before he commits anything else, wanting to play around D Prison. I'm sure he's seen that D Prison is a threat in Gigavi's games 2 and 3. He'll go ahead and make a Stardust Dragon and pass. That's going to be bad news for us because our Mirror Force is not going to be so useful anymore. And we're going to be forced to pass. We have all of our equips and we have a Super Solar Nutrient, but not a plant is to be found. So lots of draws here are going to put us into the driver's seat. Lone Fire Blossom is certainly one of them. And we are just going to go right ahead and go for Lone Fire into a second Lone Fire. And before we do anything else, I am going to go ahead and decide to try and steal the Stardust, just to play around Bottomless, to play around Torrential, those kinds of things. So we'll use the Mark of the Rose, we'll take the Stardust successfully, and then now at this time, we and get the Gigaplant on field. He's going to Bottomless. We will let that one through in case there's also a Torrential Mirror Force or something like that. And we do have the DDR, so we can continue to play. So we're going to go ahead and get the Lone Fire back. I'd rather have that second Gigaplant still banished for later, especially because a banished Lone Fire is going to do nothing for us. So just trying to think ahead a little bit. Here, he's going to Bottomless once again, and this time we are going to be forced to use Stardust. Unfortunately, he will get to summon it back, but it is going to keep the Gigaplant on the field, so we're going to be able to keep playing. So we'll use Gigaplant and go ahead and use its effect. Bring back Lone Fire Blossom. We'll go into Copy Plant here. I don't really have any more gas in the tank, so I feel, to make a Power Tool Dragon to try and extend further. I'm going to put it in defense position because I don't want to Mirror Force and just instantly lose, and I want to be able to save my Book of Moon. Fortunately, 66% is rounding up to 100% for us, so our opponent is going to be able to get a, or rather, we're going to be able to get a Supervise off. We, at this time, are going to go ahead and sink 8 for Brute Drago. I feel that Brute Drago is going to play the best into Mirror Force here because, of course, if he does have a Mirror Force, it'll bring back the Gigaplant as well. We have some nice back row to kind of wall up, and then Brute Drago is just a pretty threatening presence for Blackwings to deal with. So we are going to swing in for big damage, and that is going to be it. Our opponent here, I know this is the Salt-themed video, but here our opponent is actually very nice. He says, sorry, I was just reading it, very respectful. This is the kind of attitude that it makes you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! When people are acting with decency and decorum, even. Anyways, here he's going to go ahead and use the Blizzard to bring back the Bora. he's got a lot of options here. We are going to Book of Moon the Blizzard to keep him from synchro summoning this turn. That is going to prove to be very, very effective. He's just going to go ahead and use Stardust to run over our Gigaplant, and he's going to pass to us, setting a Book of Moon. So now we're kind of in operation get rid of the Blizzy, so that way we can keep playing. And we are going to pick up a DDR. That's going to be really fantastic, but I decide I don't want to commit that into 2 back row. That's kind of our Hail Mary play a little bit. I also like having something to discard and keeping Wing Blast live. So we'll try attacking with the Brute Drago, but unfortunately that is going to get put face down. So feeling pretty threatened here in main phase 2, and also remembering that I was able to play completely through this set. We are going to DDR at this time. I'll normal summon the Gigaplant, but he is going to, I was playing a little fast there, folks. He is going to chain to the DDR to destroy our Mirror Force as well as the DDR, leaving our Gigaplant banished. So now we're really on the back foot, especially because he's going to Heavy Storm, and we had nothing to chain to that Wing Blast. So he is going to be free to flip summon the Blizzy, normal summon the Shura, and you know, he can really put a lot of pressure on us here, and go ahead and make a Goyo Guardian, and Goyo is going to attack over our Black Brute Drago. This is tough for him, because if he leaves the Black Brute Drago up, then I am going to be able to just run over any monster he makes. If he made Bryanak, he wouldn't be able to clear both of my monsters. And so at least with Goyo here, he's going to be able to put the Brute Drago on his side of the field, and if I can't out it, I'm going to be in quite a little bit of trouble. We are going to get Brute Drago bringing back a Gigaplant, but of course he has the Stardust Dragon to answer that. So I'm actually going to say here is going to be a little pop quiz for this video. So think about the cards that are left in this deck. What would you want to be drawing here to get you out of this position? We do have a Power Tool Dragon, but because we have already used 2 DDRs to supervise and a Mark of the Rose, the only equips left in deck are another Mark of the Rose and another supervise. So we're not able to activate Power Tool Dragon's effect. Just something to keep in mind. So what is going to be your destiny draw to get us out of this situation? There's a couple, and one of them that we are able to find here is going to be Hidden Armory. So Hidden Armory is going to very simply let us activate and get back Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose is going to let us take Goyo Guardian, and then Goyo can attack over Black Brute Drago. We will get Goyo's effect as well as Brute Drago's effect. So that's going to put a Gigaplant with its effect already turned on the field, and we don't have our normal summon this turn. That's quite all right, because Gigaplant's already got its effect, and we're going to be able to get the Goyo off the field and make a Colossal Fighter. Here, I think it's really interesting that we did mill that second copy plant, because my thought, okay, how am I going to get out of the situation? I wanted to draw a copy plant and then make Colossal Fighter with the Power Tool Dragon. Colossal Fighter would attack and crash with the Goyo, and then Goyo would attack over the Black Brute Drago. So this would be a pretty similar end board. You know, we wouldn't have the Power Tool Dragon, but we would have a Goyo sticking around permanently. It would be our Goyo. Pretty fun play. Sad we didn't get that, but of course we are going to get the win with our opponent just drawing a Kalu. And once again, we see that our opponent is really a class act, hitting us with the LOL GG's, man. Nice top deck. You know, I definitely has. He even says that game was fun though. I tell him about my other line, but you know, like this is what you want. You know, this is good Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like sometimes on this channel, I'm kind of painting all Blackwing players like, oh, Blackwing players, they're all salty, you know, they're all, you know, whatever. I know there's a rep that, you know, every Blackwing player on Dueling Book is a salty Italian, but, you know, I have said, I don't believe that all Italians are salty. I have had so many positive experiences. I know yesterday's video, I was glazing Brazil. I'll glaze Italy right now. I do have to say, guys, my Instagram algorithm has been full of these it's like the Italian brain rot meme. So I wanted to actually ask you guys this, like, crocodilo bombarino or whatever, bombardiro crocodilo, this guy, right? I've been seeing all these memes about this, and what is it? Tralalero tralala. Is this like just like is, is this authentically Italian? Like, is this actually coming from Italy, or is this just like people being dumb on the internet? Like, is this a meme that escaped the confines of your little peninsula there in the Mediterranean Sea, or is this just people being stupid on the internet? That being said, I would like to weigh in on which of these guys is the best fighter, and that's gotta be my guy Berber Patapim. I think you guys are really underlooking how big this guy is. He can regrow. So even if like he gets bombed or something, he can regrow. It doesn't matter how fast Tralalero Tralala is. Like, you're just gonna get stepped on, dog. And I also think that this kind of proboscis thing that he's got going on is definitely a big threat. And that also reminds me, have you guys ever heard of proboscis Luke? This is I don't know. This is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. Proboscis Luke. When I was a kid, I had a surreal and terrifying experience watching a VHS of the special edition of Star Wars A New Hope with my mom. I believe this was the late 90s, 1998, but I can't give an exact date, so I apologize. However, I was approximately 11 or 12. Basically, we were watching the part of the film where they're in the Death Star. At one point, when confronted by stormtroopers, Luke's nose suddenly extended grotesquely into a strange flesh-colored elephant's trunk. It then flailed around, making elephant trumpet sounds, scaring the stormtroopers off. I vividly remember this, and I was absolutely terrified. My mom was really jarred and confused and trying to calm me down. Leia then said, "That's enough, proboscis Luke," and his nose returned to normal. The film also continued on as normal. Every subsequent viewing of our VHS was completely normal, as with every previous viewing. We had already watched the film multiple times prior to the incident, so that precludes it being some strange edited copy, which would be weird in and of itself. My mom still remembers the event, and sometimes we talk about it. It honestly feels somewhat demonic, like something was trying to screw with us through the VHS, but recent talk of the bigger Luke hypothesis kept reminding me of the incident, so I thought I'd post it somewhere. Anyone else have strange experiences watching films like this? This is such a good post. This is like peak internet. I don't even know what to say. There's so much to unpack here. But I'll put this out to you. Any of you guys have any strange experiences similar to proboscis Luke? Let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, you go ahead and subscribe. But all that's to say, Berber Patapim, the GOAT, the best one ever, most underrated. Anyways, here we are. We're comboing against Blackwings. He's hitting a bottomless on our Gigaplant. We still have our normal summon because we used Foolish and SSN, so we're just going to go ahead and go for Lone Fire again. He is going to chain DD Crow to interrupt that Furt, so we're just going to set Book of Moon Pass. He's going to find his way to a Blizzy. He's going to attack over our token with the Shura. He's going to set that Deck Devastation Virus, and folks, I don't understand why you wouldn't summon a Sirocco or even a Blizzard and try and... I mean, I guess Blizzard not, but why not just tribute for a Sirocco here? That just seems correct. Are you so worried about my back row? Are you waiting until you can chain Deck Devi? I don't know. I mean, like, you're definitely just straight up wrong for having Deck Devi in the first place. But I don't really know what to say. Anyways, maybe he thought that would, like, make it too clear that he had Deck Devi. I'm really not sure. Anyways, we're going to Furt. We're going to get Gigaplant going. He gives us the keep going, once again proving that he is a very honorable duelist. And we are going to go ahead and make our Power Tool Dragon. You guys know how this goes. We get Gigaplant back. Power Tool Dragon is going to have 66%, round up to 100%. We do miss, so I don't know what's going on there, but it doesn't matter because we have the Hidden Armory. Getting our Supervise back, equipping it to Gigaplant, going for Nettles. We'll go for a Stardust Dragon to play around any shenanigans. steal the Shura, and that is going to be GG. And again, this opponent, shout out to Hagani-chan, great dude, very pleasant to play against you. Look at this. He lost. You know, we had the nuts, we combo off, and he says, anyways, it was still fun. This is the attitude that you want to have. You know, win or lose, you want to be having a good time. This is a game, after all. We play games to enjoy ourselves, and I hope you guys are enjoying yourself playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or hearing about Proboscis Luke. So this has been Dionysus, aka Young Puds. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had fun making this. I always have fun making these, but subscribe so I have the encouragement to keep making them. Leave a comment, smash that friggin' like button, guy. Oh, and join the Discord, guys. We have a Discord. It's awesome. We talk about lifting weights. We talk about playing Gigavize. We talk about touching grass. All sorts of great stuff. Come join best community on the internet. All right, take care, guys.